the military with a lot of experience and expertise in firearms. So I was wondering, for both of you, if you could share any comment to us about the shooting, the killing of Charlie Kirk.
I'll let Colonel Wilkerson go first.
I've been looking at it extensively with a number of people who know a lot more about it than I. Some of them from the intelligence community, some from the law, what I call the recent lawfare community, former FBI, things like that. And I know the story that is more or less making its way through the mainstream media with different wrinkles is inaccurate. I know everything from the ballistics they've talked about are hogwash. I know that the security parameters around Kirk at the time were very questionable and other things like that. I don't know if we'll ever know the complete truth. You know, we have been working with the Warren Commission now, how long? Years, almost half a century, if not half a century. And they covered up JFK's assassination. There's no question in my mind. If you've read Dr. Martin Schoen's book, you know, blow by blow there, that the Warren Commission intentionally covered up what actually happened. So I don't know if we'll ever know, but I do know this. If you're looking at Hercule Poirot, you know, and you think about what he says are the essence of a murder, motive, means, and such, Bibi Netanyahu's got to have some questions asked him. There's no question in my mind, for example, that having watched the video that the Israelis themselves made of the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin, which uses about a third of the video as actual footage of the political rallies conducted by Bibi Netanyahu and other things like that. So it is a fair statement, I think, to say that Bibi Netanyahu orchestrated the murder of an Israeli prime minister in order to rid Israel of the so-called peace group, the group that, for example, was pursuing Oslo. That he would have Charlie Kirk taken out at a moment when Kirk, the most responsible individual in America for Donald Trump's election, take him out because he's turning dramatically against the relationship with Israel, which I think the evidence is building every day that he was, is certainly believable to me. Not only that, but the quickness and the adroitness, if you will, that Bibi came out and denied it all. The old passage from Shakespeare where the queen looks at the play within a play and says, "The lady doth protest too much, methinks. Methinks Bibi Netanyahu protests too much." So, but I don't know if we'll ever know. That's the end of it. And that's a real problem with our republic. We don't seem to be able to hold anyone accountable for heinous crimes that occur and have political ramifications, political implications, money implications. I just looked this morning at Lockheed Martin, for example. We haven't even talked about that. This is the 23rd year of Lockheed Martin's incredible increases in its dividends to shareholders. That tells you why we have so much war. It is very profitable for a very small percentage of people. And I think the same thing applies to things like this, assassination. So I don't think we'll ever know.
Thank you, Colonel. And Anthony, is there anything you want to add? I also, before giving you guys any closing remarks, I also want to call on Ray McGovern, who's with us. But first, Anthony, is there anything else you wanted to add?
You know, just thinking about this part of the conversation, there's a William Bloom quote that says, "No matter how paranoid, conspiracy minded you are, what the government is actually doing is far worse than you can imagine." And this is there are so many questions, so many things that just don't add up, that for us to accept this bad narrative of, well, you should believe this because I said so, from our government, our founding fathers would be rolling over in their graves. Like, I don't know where, as an American people, we got to the point to where we just accept spoon-fed lies when we can see it. I mean, imagine if you're you went to your neighbor's house and recently you had stuff stolen from your garage. And when you go to your neighbor's house, all that stuff is in his garage. And you're like, hey, wait a minute, did you steal this from my garage? And he says, oh, no, I got this somewhere else. You're a conspiracy theorist thinking that I stole it. It's like, sometimes the truth is the truth. And we have to demand accountability from our government. And I don't know how deep it goes in terms of a conspiracy or who all is involved, but I know that just looking at the facts and looking at so much of the evidence that something ain't adding up. I would say, but like back in Texas where I grew up, that dog don't hunt.
Thank you.